All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Ephraim. Today's date is March 12th, 2023. To all my new subscribers and older alike, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and select all. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new presentation. I want to thank you all for your continued support, and please continue to like the videos, comment, and I appreciate the cash apps from the few who feel led to do that. Thank you very much for that. All right, this lesson right here, I've kind of had in my mind to do it for a while. I've been really busy. So the lessons hasn't really been as much as it's been before. But anyway, so-called science or the powers that be, they have the haplotypes and the haplogroups, especially as it relates to the children of Israel, all messed up. They still incorrectly say that E1B1B is Jewish, quote unquote, because a lot of white men carry that uh, haplotype, right? Well, I've dealt with this extensively already, but this is a totally separate deal where um, I'm gonna touch on this from a couple of different angles. Number one, I've always held, and those that know me know that I don't know why um, the I don't know why the seeds of Esau defaulted to E1B1B. I just know that they did because we have the images of what those men look like, right? Now, Jacob is E1B1A. I mean, I'm not trying to make sense of what God did, why he did it, or anything like that. Okay, so let me just say that because I do believe sometimes still that we're going to have more questions than answers, so that's a given. But um, I'm going to show and prove what I've always stated, that um, E1B1B is Ham, and we know that because we took the majority of the Hamitic Africans carry the E1B1B Y DNA haplotype. Okay, now what I have noticed is that there are different strands of E1B1B. Now that may be where the breakoff was. I'm not sure. Okay, because now we splitting hairs now. I don't know. But but again, the races that they said Ham became the progenitor of, I brought forth what their DNA was and is. The Ethiopians, the Libyans, the Egyptians, and the Africans, they are all E1B1B, and that's why they keep saying that that Hitler was probably African and Jewish and all this kind of stuff. It's like, no, he wasn't. Hitler was an Edomite. Okay, Hitler was from Edom. And I also addressed the whole ideology of Esau being the white man based on scripture describing him as red, hairy, or ruddy, whatever. I'm going to kind of touch on that too. Um, and they built a whole ideology off that description of Esau, which you didn't have to build an ideology off that because the Bible already told us that Esau was the progenitor and the father of Edom, right? And so, and one of the main reasons why, before I go ahead and bring forth the first part of this lesson, is that the ideology that Esau is the white man, why that is so wrong is because all of Esau's wives were African or black women. So at the very least, Esau's children were mulatto. I dealt with that. So that's why that kind of blows that ideology out of the water about Esau being the white man. It's a false ideology. Okay, and it's misleading, and it's very irresponsible to continue to teach that false ideology that Esau, quote unquote, is the white man. I mean, listen, the Bible already told us what it is. Y'all don't have to make up stuff, man. Y'all don't have to add stuff. Okay, and we damn sure don't need somebody like a Adolf Hitler to speak for the children of Israel. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I'm gonna definitely get into that. That's just crazy to me. Like supposedly him saying that blacks being the true Jews and all this. Man, listen, there's no way, nowhere, period, where that can be verified that he said that. So I'm going to call cap, but I'm going to get into that too. So matter of fact, we're going to start there before I get into the whole Y DNA thing and bring forth the seeds of Edom. showing and proving that Adolf Hitler was an Edomite. He was not Jewish, quote unquote, and he definitely was not African. But the problem is the Hamitic Africans carry that haplotype, and so what did the Most High say? He'll take the foolish thing to confound the wise. That's why these so-called scientists are so they calling everybody African, this and that. So wait a minute, these guys aren't African. No, they're not, but yet they're E1B1B. So that confounds them. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, without further ado, let's the first segment I want to deal with in this lesson is this false allegation that about what Hitler said about the Negroes and the children of Israel. Let's get it. All right, here we go. Um, Now, supposedly and allegedly, Hitler had an exchange between him and some so-called soldier, right? And again, I don't believe this at all. I don't believe Hitler said this, and I'm going to get into in the next segment why. I believe this to be cap propaganda, man. I mean, first of all, we don't need nobody like Adolf Hitler like I said, to vouch for us or speak for us. And I mean, for anyone to include this without citing any reference where they got it from is just grossly irresponsible. But that's something else. But there are guys that's doing that. They're actually putting this out there like it's a verifiable statement, and that's just grossly irresponsible and misleading. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and read it for you. I don't know if you can read this, but it says quote, Hitler said even in his death he will start World War III. One of his soldiers asked how. Hitler replied, quote, the day mankind finds out what I was trying to defend this nation, Germany, from, then that's the day World War III will start. For on that day, mankind will learn that I was trying to save my nation from the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and the Jews. For if the Americans win the war, then they will conquer the world and forever be a slave to the Jews, and they will try to conquer God. Do you know who America has in its possession? No, the soldier replied. The Americans have the jewels of God. The Americans have stolen God's precious jewels. And the soldier supposedly asked, what do you mean, his precious jewels? Hitler said, quote, America has stolen the jewels of God, his jewelry, the Negroes. They are the true Hebrews. What a foolish move and a direct challenge to God. And they plan on moving these false white Jews into a state of Israel. America is desperate in its attempt to win this war using atom bombs on Japan. America will destroy the whole world in its attempt to conquer it. When America and its Jewish slave masters conquer the world and the world realize I was right, then all nations will begin a third world war to dethrone America of its rule. Every nation will soon possess A-bombs of their own. It will be the end of most of the world as we know it. And then, so supposedly the soldier asked, quote, why will the Jews control America? And Hitler said, because the white Jews knows that the Negroes are the real children of Israel. And to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. The Jews will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes knew who they were. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. They will fear God, will destroy them as he destroyed Egypt for doing the same thing. So the elite, the Illuminati, keeps this a secret at all costs. After I die, I will one day cause World War III just by this message, which will be like planting a seed in people's minds until it sprouts once they nurture that seed and seek more truth and learn Hitler was right. That is just, oh my God. Wow. I did the world a favor. Okay, I'm not even going to say that. But listen, man, this is just so ridiculous, man. I mean, I'm reading it and I'm just shaking my head. I mean, because it's like, I mean, how can y'all believe this crap? Like, seriously. Again, I call propaganda and I call cap. I don't believe Hitler said that. There's nowhere you can bring forth to prove or have a reference where Hitler actually said this. So again, I'm calling cap on this. I don't believe this was said at all. Because in the next segment, I'm going to bring forth exactly what's verifiable of how Hitler viewed black people, okay? Verifiable in his own words, and his, I'm going to bring that forth because if let's just say, for the sake of argument, Hitler did say that. If Hitler said that, man, that is the most empathetic side of Hitler that history has ever seen anywhere. Like, why would he do that? First of all, he refused to shake Jesse Owens' hands at the Olympics. He had this whole racial superiority thing. What he did to black people in the concentration camp, it never gets talked about, but he sterilized black men in Germany. I mean, he clearly tells us, and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to bring that forth. I'm going to read exactly what Hitler, how he felt about black people. That's verifiable, okay? And so this so-called, whatever this is that he allegedly said, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, you can compare it to how he actually views black people in his book that he wrote. And I mean, just the contrast is just ridiculously different, right? I mean, really, it's propaganda, man. Don't believe that crap and stop repeating, and stop quoting Hitler. Hitler's not someone that you would want to, kind of quote or have, to kind of back up, verify you or whatever. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like, yeah, knock it off. Right. So anyway, let's get to the next segment, and I'm going to show you exactly what and how Hitler felt about black people. Okay. I'm going to start with some direct quotes from this man and his book Mein Kampf, which is German for my struggle. That's what Mein Kampf means, my struggle. Okay, so that way, like I said, this is verifiable right here, not some propaganda of some ghost phantom thing that supposedly he said that you can't find anywhere. I mean, come on, man. So let's get right into it. It says Hitler skips the first recorded sin in the Bible of Eve, taking a bite out of some fruit tree to declare race mixing between blacks and his pure Aryan white blood was, quote, the original sin of humanity. That's on Mein Kampf, page 624. And it said, uh, okay, yeah. It said Hitler was appalled at society allowing blacks to become lawyers, teachers, and even pastors. He thought it is criminal lunacy to keep on drilling a born half ape. Come on now. While members of the highest culture race must remain in unworthy positions. That's in Mein Kampf, page 430. He said, born half ape. How did he go from that to blacks are the children of Israel? Like, come on, man. We can verify exactly how he felt about blacks in Mein Kampf. That's verifiable. This is what I'm reading to you. This is why I'm bringing this forth. Okay, I'm not about propaganda or repeating stuff that can't be verified. I'm not on that kind of time. And again, that's Mein Kampf, page 430. Hitler thought that the black man shouldn't be allowed to keep his so-called, I don't know if that's a N-word nation because it's blanked out or whatever, but it said Hitler also stated, quote, this world belongs only to the forceful whole man and not the weak half man. But of course, in his warped mind, the forceful whole man was white or Aryan, and the weak half man, half ape or whatever, was the Negro. And that's on Mein Kampf, page 257. And it says Hitler viewed the black man like Hollywood viewed the black man in The Birth of a Nation. And that woman, the black man eyes grows big and lust for a white woman. Hitler thought of us like King Kong or a gorilla. Quote, systematically, these black parasites of the nation defile our inexperienced young blonde girls and thereby destroy something which can no longer be replaced in this world. And that's on Mein Kampf, page 562. Okay. I can go on and on, but I think y'all get the picture. I'm going to stop there because there's a few other things here, but I don't have to read it, man. But let me say this real quick before we move on to the next segment, and I wrap this part up. What's true is it said the sterilization program of blacks were instituted by Germany's most senior Nazi geneticist, Dr. Eugene Fischer, who developed his racial theories in German Southwest Africa, now Namibia. Long before World War I, in Namibia, Fischer claimed there were genetic dangers arising from race mixing between German colonists and African women. There is photographic evidence of German genocidal tendencies in Africa. In 1904, the Herero tribe revolted against their German colonial masters in a quest to keep their land. It was a rebellion that lasted 4 years and led to the death of 60,000 Herero people, of 80% of their population. The survivors were imprisoned in concentration camps or used as guinea pigs for medical experiments, a foretaste of things to come. And it says, and finally it says, Hitler's forgotten victims shows that Germany's 24,000 strong black community were the number one target for his sterilization program. Hitler's view on racial superiority did not develop in a vacuum. He was influenced by the work of the 19th century German zoologist Ernst Haeckel, whose views were based on distorted versions of Darwinism. He wrote of woolly-haired Negroes incapable of higher mental development. And I'm going to stop right there. So miss me with the Hitler talking about Negroes are the true Jews, the true children of Israel. That's cap, my people. What I just read to y'all came right from his book. That book tells us exactly how Hitler viewed black people. I don't even have to say nothing else, man. All right, on to the next segment. Again, we didn't have to make up any ideologies, okay? The Torah tells us in Genesis 36, 8 and 9, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites. Again, Esau is the father of the Edomites, and they defaulted to E1B1B, the Edomites did. And as you can see, Hitler, E1B1B1, okay? He is an Edomite. He is not Jewish, and he is not African. And I can't speak why the Most High allowed these Edomites to default to E1B1B. I just know that they did, because look at these men. Do any of them look African to you? Yet, the E1B1B is also held by the Hamites, who in the races that came from the Hamites by the Bible, they carry this haplogroup as well. I don't know why. I just know that, and I said this from day one. Those of you that know me, I've said this from day one. Here's the visual proof of your Edomites. Okay? Yes, there are white Edomites, no doubt. But to say that Esau is the white man and then that's it, just based on an ideology off that, is wrong. Because there are light-skinned Edomites, there are black Edomites walking around the earth today, right? There are, because again, at the very least, Esau's children by his wives were mulatto or light-skinned blacks, because all of the women were black. Even if we accept that Esau was somehow, came out as a so-called white man, all of his wives were black. So then the problem is, there's no way the children of that pairing comes out white, either way you look at it. So that's why it's irresponsible to embrace that ideology. But clearly we have the visual proof of these white men who carry the E1B1B. Now, the so-called powers that be wants the world to think that E1B1B is somehow Jewish. But no, how can they can't even quantify that, because the percentage of Ashkenazis and the white men that possess this E1B1B, number one, they pale in comparison to the Hamitic Africans who possess this haplotype. That's why they're so confused. That's why they said that, they say that Hitler might have been African and Jewish, because the Most High did exactly what he said, man. He is confounding these so-called scientists. And again, please believe I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to figure out why the Edomites defaulted to E1B1B. I just know that they did. And you're looking at them. Hitler was an Edomite. Okay, straight up and down. These men right here, Napoleon, Edomite. These are all Edomites right here. So anyway, before I go to the next segment, I wanted to kind of show, again, I've been saying this from day, my stance has not changed. Those of you that know me know that. Don't come bombarding me with a bunch of questions, this and that. I mean, it is what it is. I've maintained that from day one. People have they laughed at me and thought I was crazy, whatever the case may be. And I mean, here you go. I mean, clearly all these white men, Einstein, all of them, E1B1B, right? They look Hamitic to you. They look dark to you. No, they don't. Yet they possess the haplotype that the Africans, the Hamitic Africans do, though, right? That's on the Most High. I really couldn't tell you, but we do know that Esau is the father of the Edomites. Yeah, we will concede that, right? But there are black Edomites walking around. Okay, there are black Edomites. There are light skinned Edomites. There are white Edomites, just like there are blacks from Esau. Carrying the bloodline of Esau, right? But the bloodline had to be different because there's no way that the Most High would have it to where the children of Esau would have the same blood haplotype as the children of Israel. He would not do that. He is not an author of confusion. There's no way that the chosen seed would have the same bloodline as any race on this planet. And that's exactly why the Negro, there's no other race on this planet that possesses the E1B1A like the Negro. Not a single race, nowhere on this earth, on this planet. Why do y'all think that is? Right? And that's rhetorical, but I'm just saying I'm not going to get into a tangent on that. But I mean I've gotten a lot of lessons on that. Go through it. You know what I'm saying? The Negroes are the only race of people that possess the E1B1A. Why is that? Clearly, you got all these white men that possess E1B1B. You got all these Africans that possess E1B1B. So E1B1B ain't special. Clearly, it's not. So why is E1B1A the only? Why are we the only race of people to have the E1B1A? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, right? But anyway, these are your Edomites, man. The Edom defaulted to E1B1B. Don't know why they did. Just know that they did. And here's the visual proof. Adolf Hitler was not Jewish. He was an Edomite carrying the E1B1B Y DNA haplotype / haplogroup. On to the next segment. And I would have to say, Barack Obama is the most famous modern day Hamite, being that his father, as you can clearly see, an African man from the Luo tribe out of Kenya. And again, his Barack Obama's Y DNA haplotype is E1B1B1. Okay, he is a Hamite. No, that doesn't mean he's Jewish. It does not. He is a Hamite. He's from He's from that Hamitic line. I honestly, I mean, it would be kind of cool to know, what separates the white E1B1Bs from the black E1B1Bs or whatever. But there's got to be something that separates those subclades or whatever, because they're not from the same seed. I mean, they're not from the same bloodline or same nation. They're not. Yet they're E1B1B, right? I mean, that's something that the Most High had to have, worked out, just like separating the bloodlines in Rebecca's womb with Jacob and Esau, right? I'm not even trying to go there with figuring, how and why he did it. I mean, I don't question the Most High, but I said from day one that the Edom defaulted to E1B1B, and people laughed at me, you know, tried to ridicule the brother, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. It's all good. At the end of the day, you know, um, it's about salvation. I mean, that's why when you talk about when Barack Obama talking about no reparations and all this, yeah, he gonna talk no reparations because none of his people were enslaved. He's not a Negro. He's not our people. He's not our people. It's real easy for him to say that and talk that stuff because his people weren't enslaved. Michelle's people were. She's our sister. You know what I'm saying? She's from one of the tribes, but Barack is not. And until we get the so-called powers that be or get into a position where we can say, look, man, E1B1B is not Jewish. Okay, yes, it is Hamitic. It's also E1B1B is also Edomic. I don't know. Yeah, Edomic, Edom. Esau or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how would you kind of, but they both go together, and they're clearly two different bloodlines or represent two different nations. That's on the Most High. Anyway, man, that's it, man. I just wanted to bring that forth. You want to put that propaganda to rest, man. What that Adolf Hitler talking about blacks are the true Jews. He didn't say that. That's propaganda. That's cap. All right. I read to you what and how he felt about, Negroes and black people, and it was nowhere near what that propaganda piece was saying. Y'all can just see how great that contrast is. Like, wait a minute, something don't even sound right. No, it doesn't. That stuff is it's cat, man. I mean, I wouldn't read his book. I mean, I wouldn't. That's why I gave y'all the page number because that's for reference purposes. That's why I gave y'all the page number. Like I said, you can verify that. In academia, man, like you can't put forth no information if you don't have nothing, a source where it came from to verify that is actually true or whatever. You can't do that, man. And people that bring forth information like that or bring forth quotes that can't be verified, man, is grossly, grossly immature and irresponsible. Right. So on that note, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end this lesson, man. Until next time, man, it's Dr. Ephraim signing off, man, saying shalom, elect.